So fundamentally, the lesson is this. We are all designers now. 20 years ago, we all became publishers. Today, we're all designers. Every one of us has the capacity to will an object into existence, to create a business built around manufacturing with no investment, almost no skills required. The barriers to entry have fallen to ankle high. The new supply chains of the manufacturing world are matched to the individual in the same way the web was matched to all of us. This is our world. It's opened up so that our ideas can now come into reality. My children are growing up in a world where they know that anything they can imagine, they can make. When their instinct is now to make rather than buy. When, today, this is the dot matrix era, right? But tomorrow, they're not going to have to paint it. It's going to come out in any color you want. It's going to come out in any material you want. They're growing up in a world where they feel as empowered in physical things as the previous generation did in digital things. They already think in terms of 3D virtual spaces because they play video games. They understand 3D representations. They understand polygons and shapes and all these all these sort of abstract concepts of screen worlds. They get that. They live in that world. And now they have the capacity to design, to create in that world, and simply press print. So these are these tools they use. They're free. They're, you may think of CAD as being something that's really complicated, used by architects, et cetera, but it's free. It's online. This is SketchUp. It's owned by Google. They're about to sell it. What you find is that these tools are very natural to kids. And what's new about these tools is every one of them has a new menu item. And that menu item isn't print, it's make. When you think about your word processor, Word, you type, you go, and then you go to the menu and you pick print, and out it comes on the printer as a piece of paper. What these do is you draw and you design, and you come up with something, and maybe modify a design you've downloaded from the internet, and then you go to make. And what make gives you is two choices. You can either print it on your 3D printer, or CNC machine, or whatever you have locally, or you can upload it to a service to be made for you at any quality, resolution, or volume you want. Think of it as like those photo services, right? You can choose to print your photo locally, or you can upload it to Shutterfly or whatever to be printed at high quality in any volume you want. Same thing with physical stuff. So now the ability to make is simply a button press. It's a menu item. This is incredibly powerful. What we've basically seen is that the means of production are a mouse click away. It goes through a little wizard. It asks you, how many units do you want? What material do you want? Here's the various costs of the various materials so you can make some trade-offs. What kind of finish do you want? Do you want it shipped to you or sent directly to customers? A wizard in your free program walks you through what is effectively 500 years of industrial skills and technology. It's turned into software, and it is so cheap and easy that even my kids can do it. Here's another one, Autodesk, one of the big commercial firms. They have 123D, professional level software available to anybody for free. Same, it's got a menu item that just walks you through making it. Just, there you are, your factory, go for it. You don't even have to download software. There's one that's called Tinkercad that's right on the website. You just use it within your browser. Completely natural to the web generation. So this is what I mean about the democratization of technology. This is desktop publishing for the manufacturing age. It's brand new, but I think your kids will take it for granted. The question simply is, what will they make? So I wanted to end with this note. What kind of world are we creating? What is the shape of this new manufacturing economy? And the way I think about it is really kind of a battle between 20th century and 21st century models. The guy on the left is Ronald Coase, a University of Chicago economist. In the 1930s, he was asking himself this question, why do companies exist? And he came up with the theory of the firm. And he figured out that the companies exist. In other words, we have our employees. We work under one roof. We have roles and responsibilities. We have common purpose. All of that exists to minimize transaction costs, which is to sort of say the time or money or just the complexity of getting things done. So if the person to your left is account receivable and the person to your right is accounts payable and their customer service and their operations, you know who does what. And you want something done, you just turn to the person to the left or turn to the person on the right, and you have a shared purpose and understanding of what everyone's job is. The ability to quickly get things done is minimizing transaction costs. So that's why companies exist. It was easier to get things done under one roof with a shared purpose than it was to just have this sort of dispersed talent pool where you'd have to figure out who would be the right person to do and communicate with them and agree on what needs to be done. All well and good. That defines the 20th century. But the guy on the right is Bill Joy, one of the co-founders of Sun Microsystems. And about 10 years ago, he made an observation which was true, but really sort of unhelpful. He said, whoever you are, the smartest people in the world don't work for you. And this is kind of, I mean, yes, of course, statistically, I'm sure the smartest person for any given job probably, lives in China or India, or anyway, they don't work for you, right? So who does work for you? The people who work for you are the people who passed certain filters we have for hiring talent. What school do they go to? What degree do they have? What company have they already worked for? What visa do they have? What language do they speak? Are they available on the marketplace right now? Are they in your country? All those kind of tests we use to sort of pick people who are safe. It doesn't select for the smartest, best people, it selects for the safest people. The guy in the front there I wanted to tell you about, his name is Jordi Munoz. Because I'm innately web-centric, I did all my thinking and research in public. This is what you do these days. If you have a question, you ask it in public. If you have an observation, you put it in public. If you have an idea, you share it. And so what I said is, as I was learning about drones and autopilots and electronics, about which I knew nothing, I said, well, I might as well just do it in public, engage in my journey of discovery on a website. So I created a website called DIY Drones on a social network platform. It was 2007, and we were past the blog age. It was all in social networking. And one of the first people who joined this was this guy who was flying a helicopter with a Wii controller. He'd hacked the Wii controller and hacked this thing called Arduino, which is this open source processing board. And he'd gotten the two to work together, and he was flying it with his Wii controller, which is pretty cool. And he posted it on YouTube because that's what you do. And I said, that's awesome, tell me a little bit more. And he told me about Arduino, and he explained about how he did it, and everyone said, oh, cool, share the code. And he shared the code, and shared the design files, and he shared the design files. And then I said, well, let's do this other project together, and we made a robot blimp. And that was pretty cool. Then we made a better autopilot for planes, and that was pretty cool. And we were doing the same thing. We were sharing our design files. It's all open source. It's all Creative Commons, all this kind of stuff. And it was like, it's really easy, guys. All you need to do is upload this design file to a printed circuit board fabrication facility and then solder all these components that you buy from the store. And everyone's like, that's way too hard. So we thought, well, we probably need to make it for them. We probably need to get into the business of manufacturing these things. So I said, Jordi, would you like to be my partner? We'll start a company. And he said, absolutely, let's do it. And I said, by the way, I've never met you. Can you tell me a little something about yourself? Jordi turned out to be 19 years old, high school graduate, living in Tijuana, Mexico. Knew nothing about this, no college degree, no credentials whatsoever. And yet he was the answer to Joy's paradox. He was the best person in the world for this particular job. And so when the editor-in-chief of Wired magazine decided to start a drone company, he picked a Mexican teenager who'd never been to college. And it's worked out brilliantly. This is what we make now. We make these multi-copter drones and plane drones and all sorts of robot flying things. And today you can use we sell more drones than, we sell more autopilots than the biggest aerospace companies in America. That's because ours cost $200 and theirs cost $20,000. We now have robots. You give them missions, and they take off. They fly their missions. They loiter. They take pictures. They come back. It's all open source. What could possibly go wrong? And we're now a disruptive force in the aerospace industry. This is me. And just 5 years ago, it was me and this Mexican teenager. Today, it's a multi-million-dollar company with operations in San Diego and Mexico. But the interesting thing about it is that all the ideas, all the R&D is being done for free by the community. We started in this room here in the classic garage, and today we have rows of these pick-and-place machines in electronics manufacturing facilities. We bought them on the internet. We learned how to use them by Googling such. This is a high-tech electronics production facility run by basically 23-year-olds now. They've spent a couple years, 23-year-olds, who learned everything they needed to know on the internet. And all of the ideas, all the R&D, all the intellectual property is created by our community, which is now tens of thousands of people and hundreds of developers. And it's really kind of amazing. We have people who work at Apple and make your iPhone by day, and by night, they're designing autopilots for us for free. Why are they doing this? It's not altruism. It's not charity. They're doing it because they believe in it. They're doing it because we gave them a platform on which they can innovate. They're doing it because they can't help themselves. They're doing it because they're passionate about the subject, because they want to be on the bleeding edge of robotics, because they know that if they give away a little of their own ideas, they'll get back much more in return. They're doing it to be part of something they believe in. The time they spend, they'll spend as much time on our projects as they spend on their day job, and we try to pay them. They don't even want money. I mean, we couldn't possibly pay them enough to affect them financially. What they want is the psychic satisfaction of being able to change the world. And what we've given them is a platform by which they can do that. So when I say that I think we're at the beginning of a new industrial revolution, it's because I've done it and I've seen it and I'm watching it happen in real time. As these powerful desktop prototyping, these desktop manufacturing tools get out there, we're seeing the exact same thing that happened with the web browser, with the mobile revolution, and everything else. What we're seeing is that this explosion of ideas and talent that's been out there all along just didn't have access to the means of production. We have democratized manufacturing, and we're about to see the long tail of stuff. We're about to see an explosion of ideas and entrepreneurs from places we never imagined before around the world, simply enabled by these low-cost devices that can be on any desktop, anywhere. So to end, this is the slogan, that atoms are the new bits. And what that means is simply that everything you've seen so far in the digital world is just prelude to what's going to happen in manufacturing. Many of you in this room are going to have a 3D printer in the next few years. You're going to start to see this happen around you. Your schools are going to start teaching design. Your children are starting to believe that their ideas can be made real. And I just can't wait to see what they'll do. Thank you very much.